Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Joshua and this is Rooftop. In today's workshop, we're going to be looking at Kalamkari hand paintings. So now these hand paintings, they originated from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And most of these motifs, they were inspired by mythologies and, stories and so on. And a lot of these works were done by block printing, which I had spoken about in some of our previous workshops. Now, this art style, they have a lot of different motifs, mostly following the mudras or the hand gestures. And they used a lot of, you could say, natural dyes to create their paints or to create their pigments or colors. So now, what exactly are these mudras or motifs that I'm talking about? Let's have a look at it. Okay, so I'll just put my 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so I have my paper here. Okay, what I'll do is, since it's not quite visible, yeah, that should be better. So now you can see it properly. Okay, so what we can do is we can start by drawing these mudras or these hand gestures that are there. Okay, so the materials that I will be using today, I will be using a pencil, my eraser, and some brush pens. Okay, so we can start off with the drawings. So over here, what I will do is very roughly, I'll first just mark out where I want the fingers to be. So I'm going to start off by drawing the hands. I know it's a little light, but I'll make it a bit visible for you. Okay, I think that should be good enough. Okay, so I'm drawing over here. So I'm starting off with very rough sketch. So I'm starting it a little light. In this I can take a little higher. That, and then there's a lot of decoration on the wrists. I'll just start darkening it in a sec. Okay, and these hands are quite illustrative. Illustrative in the sense that they have very flat colors and are very two-dimensional also. Same thing here. This I can make a bit bigger. thumb. Now I'm just refining the lines a little bit. I'm keeping what lines I want, what lines I do not want, and if there are any lines that need to be readjusted, I'm doing that as well right now. Okay, now I can start, you could say, darkening it a bit. Okay, now I can start by darkening this finger here. Just like that. So for those of you who don't know, these hand gestures, they are known as mudras. Over here we can have the nail. So you see this line, it's extra, I don't need it, so I can just readjust it to what I feel is necessary. Like that. Just like this. And then I'll add the decoration to the rest. Always keep rotating your paper whenever you draw, so that it's a lot more easier, or it's a lot better to get your lines more accurately. And then over here, like that. And then I can take my eraser, which I made into a cube, and then whatever extra line is there, so just shape this into a shape that I want. Like that. So we'll have 2 rings around the thumb. And then this side, we'll have another 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we can have the same design that we did here over here. So there are a lot of mudras, but in today's workshop, we'll only be covering around 2 to 3 mudras. Okay, so this is one. This part I can fix it a little bit. Darken that. Here as well. Okay. And now what I can do is I can start coloring this. So before I color it, I will keep a paper here to check whether the color I have is the right color or a good enough color. For this. It's a bit darker. Okay, so let me check this color. This is, I think, this one. Okay, so it's always a good idea to test your colors before you start anything. Okay, so what I will do is I will use this color right here for the skin. Now before I color it, I will just start to lighten it up. Just a little bit, so that whatever graphite powder is there on top, it doesn't really mix with the brush pen. Okay, now I'll take this and I can start coloring this in. Here also, you need to make sure that you don't go over the jewelry area. Otherwise you won't be able to color that part properly. The two colors would mix. Okay, so around this. I'll just start with the part where the skin color is touching. I'll just give it an outline so that it's a lot easier to then color this. So if you have markers also, or sketch pens, not markers, sketch pens, that also will work. Just like that. So we have a nice skin color there. We'll add this color here also. It's in this alternating pattern. Okay, and then I will take a red color. Yeah, I'll take this red and I will put it over here. Now remember, this is not the end of it. We have to give it an outline also. Like that. And then I will take this yellowish color and I can paint this area here. And there will be some parts I will leave just white. So keep rotating your paper. One there. One here. And then this also we'll be doing an alternating pattern like that. Just like that. I think this side I can add an extra one or two. Now I can take my marker and start outlining it. First, let me check. I have two markers. I have one brush pen marker and I have one like a permanent marker. So I'll just check the difference. Oh, this one seems to be a little, okay, no, there is enough ink. Then this one, see, so the thing with this marker, right, is I can have a thin line and then I can have a thick line and then a thin line again. So if you do end up using a brush pen like this, do make sure that you have proper pressure control. Even if you don't, it is a good way of practicing it. So now let's give this an outline as well. So I will start from here. And when you do end up doing work like this, right, try not to think too much about whether you're using enough pressure or not. Because the more you think about it, the more you're going to do what you're trying to avoid. It's like for first-time cyclists, when you get a push, you're gonna think, I'm gonna crash, and then you end up crashing. But once you start getting the hang of it, you start to think, oh, okay, it's not that bad, and it doesn't end up being that bad. So while painting is a game of skill, it is also a way of maintaining a mindset as well. Now tell me one thing, do you think practice makes perfect? Do you believe in that statement? That the more you practice, the better you will be? Give me a reply in the comments. Again, there is no right or wrong answer, it's just a question about your opinion. Do you feel that practice makes perfect? Come on, I want an answer in the comments. Do you feel that practice makes perfect? Again, there's no need to be nervous or anything. No one is going to be called out. I am just asking for an opinion. We'll do the same thing here. Yes, okay. For me, I feel that practice or only practicing will not improve your work. And the reason why I think that is because one of the reasons why I feel that only practicing will not make your art perfect or make anything that you're trying to learn perfect is because just because you repeat the same thing again and again does not mean that you will improve on it. But if you take new knowledge and practice that, then practice would make perfect. For example, if you take two people, one who is, you could say, like an intermediate in art, and one who is a total beginner in art, and I give you two to draw the exact same thing. Now, as an intermediate, your work would be between, like a professional and a beginner, somewhere right over there. Right, whereas a beginner has no knowledge about how to do drawings in general. But now, say I give you all an object to draw. You'll try to draw it from whatever knowledge you know. But what if I gave some extra knowledge to the beginner and then told this person that start it this way, do it this way, and finish it this way? So what you would be doing is you would be drawing whatever you've been drawing for the past 1-2 years again and again, taking only that knowledge, and you would be putting it down. Whereas what the beginner would get is knowledge from someone who has more experience than you and putting it down. While the drawing may not match my work, it would still be maybe to the intermediate's level, maybe slightly better because of that extra knowledge that you get. So when you do practice, don't just practice drawing the same thing or the same type of thing again and again. Try to find different ways to draw it, or maybe a different way to finesse it, or maybe a different technique or a different approach to it. Then your work would improve. If you only practice, if I draw this hand here and just keep drawing this hand again and again and again, it will limit me to what I already know. But if I see, okay, how can I break this hand down into basic shapes and then take the measurements of each part of the hand and then form this palm, then the fingers, then the thumb over here, and then take this, then your drawings will be more accurate, and then as you practice, it will then improve. So just practicing would not improve your work. While you practice, you would need to gain more knowledge also externally, or with your own research. So let's go to the second mudra. Okay. So over here you can see that it's a very, what do you say? It's a very solid color. There are very flat colors in this style of drawing, which reminds me, I forgot to draw the nail for this thumb. There you go. Yeah, so if you see, there are a lot of flat colors in this and a few decorative aspects to this type of motif. Now let's see what other type of motifs are there. The motifs being M-O-T-I-F, not M-O-T-I-V-E-S, not motives, motifs. And motifs are basically certain designs that are implemented in this type of painting or in this style of drawing and painting. Okay, let's see the next one. Okay. So again, I'll keep this like that, and I'll bring it down here. Can I draw the fingers again of this one? Do you want me to draw the fingers again of this one, or in general, like another one? Pai, let me know if you're talking about this specific drawing. Thank you, Nirja. Payal, do you want me to draw these specific fingers again, or are you asking me how do you draw fingers in general? Let me know so I can show it to you according to what you're looking for. Now I know this is not very visible. So what I'm doing here, right, to draw these fingers is I'm mixing in a bit of, so basically myself, the style of painting I do is a bit of Indo-European art. So what I'm doing is I'm taking knowledge from the Indo-European aspect of art, and I'm using it to simplify this drawing down and then come up with a way to draw this. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just finish this hand and then I can show you how I draw the fingers behind this. Would that be okay to all of you who are watching? I can just show you a very basic way to draw the hand. I won't go too in depth, but enough that you can draw the hands by yourself with this. With what I'm about to tell. Okay, great. Okay, then let me just finish this hand and then we can get right into it. what more is in store for the month? I would love to learn something related to Kerala murals if possible. Okay, so Kerala murals, we will most likely be doing it in November, because we already have a certain set of workshops that we have prepared for this month. So Kerala murals is, I think, somewhere in the first week of November. So if you can just hold on for a little bit, we can then show it to you. Because along with Kerala murals, we also have, so we were thinking of adding a little bit of, you could say like an art course per se. Art course in the sense that we'll be going over the basics of like portraiture and maybe a bit of figure drawing and then a bit of sketching and shading. So if you're interested in that, or if you feel that that is something that would intrigue you, let me know so that we can even push forward with that also. Okay, now let me show you how I draw hands. Now there are many ways of drawing hands. I'll try to go through whichever way I remember, and then I can show you my way of drawing hands. So if we look at my palm, right? Now whenever you look at any objects, if you haven't seen the basics of sketching workshop that I've done previously, have a look at it there also. I'll be quoting some things from there as well. But if we look at my hand right now, or my palm, we can see that just the palm is sort of the shape of a square. And if you look at my finger, it is quite cylindrical, right? So say if I want to draw an open palm like this, what I will do is, so if I'm drawing my left hand, I'll keep my hand here for reference. So I will start with this part here, then this part I'll bring down, which is this one. Same thing that way. And then if you look at my wrist, right, it is curved. It is not a straight line. If you see, it's not a straight line. If you compare it to the pencil, it curves either upwards or downwards based on the angle you're looking at it from. So over here we'll curve it downwards like this for now. And then here we have the thumb as well. I'll just put that down there, like that. Now when we look at our fingers, you can see that from the index finger to the middle finger, it goes upwards, and then the other two come down. So let's assume that this is where our fingers start from. I'll just darken this a bit so you can see. Yeah. So if you take the middle finger, say it's the biggest one. Now what I will do is I will imagine a line like this, just over these two fingers. So you can see how it is going down, and whereas this side, it is going down to the other way, right? So it is sort of a triangular shape, or like a shed, so like that. And then it goes down here, and then down again for the pinky. Now this one, I will connect it to this part of the palm, and this one here. Now when we look at the thumb as well, we have two joints as compared to this one. So we have the knuckle and then two joints here, whereas here we only have, let's call this the knuckle of the thumb, and then we have one joint in the middle. So we have to go a little bit into the biology of it, but I won't go in too much. it will come like that, and then the thumb would be somewhat like this. So think of those gloves. I forgot the name of it. The winter gloves or the cooking ones, which is just like one whole glove without the fingers. I can't recall the name, but I hope you know what I'm talking about. So we'll try to draw that, and then our wrist from here, it will go outward like this. So this is the basic shape of the hand. Now over here, what I will do is I will just divide this so that we have the fingers. But now if you look at our fingers, it is curved from top, right? None of our fingers are very pointy like that. So what I will do is I'll take the middle of this and assume that it is the topmost part, like that. Same thing here. Now I'm drawing a very basic hand. I'm not going into realism or anything. I'm just going through the proportions of the hand, and then same thing this way over here. Then if we divide this into 3, we have the joints. So I'll just very roughly mark it out like that. We have the joints in the fingers. And then here, the thumb, we have this part that comes down like that. Then this part will be the back side of the knuckle. So this is the front and this is the back. This part will have it come down. And then we have quite a bit of mass in our hand. It's not just bone and skin, we have muscle in it. Then it will come and connect down to this part here. So that's one of the basic way to draw a hand. I hope that in a way answered your question. So now if I were to draw this one, right? What I did was I started off with how is it like that, right? So I started off with the palm over here. So you'll have to look at it sort of like an X-ray kind of vision, not just what you see in front, but how it is at the back also. So what I did was I drew the palm like this, very roughly. Now remember, this is an illustration, so it is a bit exaggerated. We don't see any fingers, so wavy, and yeah, we don't see the fingers so wavy or so smooth like that, with so many curves. And then what I did was, there are 2 fingers which are down, so I just looked at the basic shape of the fingers. I didn't think of them as fingers. What I did was I placed them down like this, and then the other fingers, and this one's joint comes up like that, and this one goes straight up, and then the thumb comes somewhere around here, and it goes down, and then we have this part which is here, and this one overlaps this side. And then when we divide it, we then get the drawing of the mudra we just did, like that. Yeah, so I hope that answered your question, and I hope that made things a little clear as to how you can draw the hand. If you found that useful, you can let me know. If you found that a bit confusing, you can still let me know. Some feedback would be nice. Now see, now since this hand is quite illustrative, it won't have very realistic features. You'll have a lot of curves, a lot of exaggeration. Same thing here. What kind of pencil is this? So it's a normal graphite pencil, but the only difference is that it doesn't have wood, so it is entirely graphite. Yeah, so if you look at this, yeah, both of them are pencils, but just that this one is covered with wood and this one is not covered with wood. It's entirely graphite. So it's called a woodless pencil. It has a very metallic sound to it. I think that's about the only difference. Otherwise, it's no difference from a normal pencil. I'll put there, and then for the pinky finger, I feel like the pinky finger in this style, right, is, I would say, a lot more inspired from the pinky toe, because like this bulge over here or this bulge over here, it's very similar to the pinky toe that is there. Because for the finger, you won't really notice it, with like that kind of a bump. And then we can have this here. And connect it to this. Yeah, it is kind of cool. It feels good in your hand, the woodless pencil. So I think it's sort of like a placebo to make you a little bit confident, I guess. For me at least, it makes me feel a little more confident in my drawings. Like that. So now we have this hand also over here. Now we erase the hand because we took so much effort in drawing it. Let's erase it as well. Now we're not erasing it entirely, we are just lightening it up. So Ashwika and Payal, if you are still there, did you find the quick tutorial on drawing the hand useful? Okay, now for this hand, what I will do is I will for this hand what I will do is I'll make it red in color. Now besides the nail, we'll make everything else in red. Besides the nail and the decoration or the jewelry, not decoration. So one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to draw the decoration on the hand before we start drawing. Sorry, before we start coloring. So I'll just add the decoration here. Like that, and a bit here. So then we don't make a mistake later on when we start coloring it. there, 2 there, and then we have this part here. Which then connects this side. Like that. And now that we've drawn it, we will erase it once again. Again, when we erase, we're only trying to erase the top layer. We're not trying to erase the drawing entirely. So again, I'll just start with an outline. So that I know what I need to paint and what I do not need to. Like that. Over here, so I'm just marking out the parts where I need to paint and the parts where I do not want red color to be in. Like that. Now since this is a dark color, there will be some highlights on the edges of some of these parts. Like that. So what do you guys think about this drawing so far? Will you all be trying it at home or at work, wherever you want to draw? Same thing here. Now the reason why I'm not just coloring it entirely is because we need to keep that gap for the rim light. The rim light is basically this over here, or the edge. Yeah, like you can see this light over here, but whenever it's at the edge instead of the center, that's known as the rim light. Same thing this side. Okay, like this. So you can see these little outlines in white. That is basically the rim light, which will then separate the fingers from each other besides the black outline. Here you go. Sometimes the things you're looking for is right under your nose, but you do not find them. Okay, so now here, I'll add a bit of yellow there. Like that. Add a bit here also. Now some of these are just plain white, but I'm just keeping them a bit yellow to add a bit of interest to them. Okay, so now let's start with the outline. So can anyone tell me what advice do I always give when it comes to drawing outlines? Which brush pen are you using? I don't have skin color. What all colors do you have? So for skin color, right, people normally think that peach is the skin color, but if you see, our skin color is never just peach. We always have a little bit of blue, a little bit of brown. But even this color that I used, it's not really, I mean, yeah, you could consider it skin color, but it's more orangish. Like, it looks a bit different on camera. Hold on. Okay, it still looks like skin color. Never mind. Just use a light brown color, or maybe a slightly yellowish brown color. Like, even if you have this kind of color, it should work. The brand doesn't really matter, as long as, actually, yeah, sometimes the brand can matter. Sometimes, not always. But if you have like a light brown, you can use that also. Over there, a little bit down there. Over here also, need to add the line. So when it comes to brush pen, right, when you try to draw very thin lines, you can barely feel any resistance or any friction from the tip. So then what that does is it automatically or you subconsciously use more force so that you can get a little bit of friction to know that yes, I am actually drawing a line. And when you do end up doing that, you end up getting a very thick line. So you'll have to not only train your hand, you'll have to train your brain also. At least I have to, because there are times where I don't even know if I'm using enough pressure and I'm very tempted to put more force. Force as in not smash my pen inside, but just so that I can feel the pen going against the paper, and as you would with a pencil or brush. Like that. Oh, I wasn't supposed to put it there. What am I doing? Yeah, okay, it's still good enough. Okay, you want the reference picture? 1 second. So there are a lot of references, but I'm not doing each and every one of them. 1 second. So that is the reference. I'll keep this much actually, so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, so you can see this color and the reference, they aren't exactly the same color, they're quite different, but it proves a point. You get to know that okay, this is the skin color. So see, now this color that is there in the reference, I do not have that color with me. So now I have to compromise, which even sometimes you at home or anyone at home would need to do. Because if you don't have the correct color over here, you will need to use a color that is similar to it or that would represent the same thing. Because now until you saw the reference, you did not know that this color was different to this one over here. But the point that I was trying to prove was, conveyed, at least I would assume, Okay, this is skin color, and here we have some yellow, here we have some yellow, here a bit of red, here and there, back and forth. So whenever you don't have a particular color at home, you can use something similar to it, or something that would prove the same point. Because as I was trying to show it to you earlier when I brought it up close, that this one was quite dark, a little bit orangish, but now when I put it together with this, you can see just how big of a difference it is. This red also is a little bit darker. So now let's say you want to make it as dark as this red over here. So what you can do is, let me just take my red. Now I won't do it for the entire thing, but I can show you a trick as to how to darken your red. So if you don't have any dark red, if you add black over this, it would just become black, right? But instead of black, okay, I'll just keep this here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now if I want to darken this, I have a couple different colors that I can use to darken this red. So first would be blue, second would be green. So it's a bit of an olive green, I wouldn't recommend using that. You can take like a lighter green, so something like this. But I'll show you with this one as well. And then what I can do is I can take a bit of brown also and darken it. So I'll use this brown, which is this color over here. Okay, so we'll start off with this color. Now if I want to darken this red, now this will be very subtle, but you can see it starting to darken. Then we have this olive green, but this is really dark. You can see how dark it is. So if I were to add this like that, it looks a little bit blackish, but in case it does turn like that, then you can take your red again and go over it one more time. Let me bring it closer, like that. Or what you can do is also you can add a bit of blue to it. So I'll add blue over here. So when you mix blue and red, you get this sort of purplish tint right there. I'm not sure how much you can capture on camera. And then if you take green, so this is the type of green I'm using. Yeah, this gives the perfect darkness to the red. Like that. So here we mixed a bit of brown, which is this brown, and then over here we mixed I think olive green. Yeah, we mixed olive green here, but this one turned out a bit too dark. Here we mixed blue, which also turned out a little too dark, and then here we added a bit of light green. Now if I were to take this red again and go over it, it will then add that reddish tint on top. So this will be more visible, like if it is in front of you on camera, all of them just look like black. But there is quite a bit of difference. Yeah, I can see there is quite a bit of difference between each of them. So the more, you could say, the more variations of colors that you have instead of just light and dark, if you have like different type of blues, different types of greens, and so on, then you can get these very subtle changes to the color also. And so mostly work with these alcohol based markers. There is quite a famous brand, but I'm sure if you just search for uh, markers or alcohol markers, the one that I'm talking about will come up. It's a very pricey brand. It comes up to like 320 to 400 per per pen. So it's very pricey. But we don't need to, really get into all of that. You can use the basic ones you get at your normal store also. Yeah. So I hope you got to learn something new as well, not just what we did in our workshop, but I showed a bit of a tutorial also on drawing the hands, and then a little bit of an introduction to how to use the brush markers or how you can get different colors as well. So thank you so much for joining me in this workshop, and tomorrow again we will have a workshop at 12:30 in the afternoon, and then again at 5:30 in the evening. So thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, so thank you so much for joining me, and I will be sending the reference of this workshop in the group. So for those of you who are not in the group, you can look at the description. We have the link over there where I send the reference, and I send some other stuff also, and I communicate with the audience directly as well. And we have some art challenges sometimes, and we have some different types of topics to increase your creativity. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.